views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Phoenix, yes. Brother Mike back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. God bless you today and thank you for your time. Welcome to the program. Today's Bible study. Antidepressant drugs can be antichrist. Antidepressant drugs today on Hardcore. Would you call somebody and tell them the radio program's on? I'll make a quick announcement. You make the call. Tell them the radio program's on. Thank you for your help. This is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center in Central Phoenix. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road, just south of course, Indian School Road in Central Phoenix. HardcoreChristianity.com is our website. We have 2 live services every week. 7 p.m. Thursday and Friday, preaching, teaching, healing, and deliverance at every service. And of course, both those services are broadcast on our YouTube teaching channels. On the website, you can join us on our social media sites, Facebook, our group Hardcore Christianity, our other group Blessings. Blessings really is a blessing. It lists many of the incredible miracles that have occurred at the Arizona Deliverance Center and previously the House of Healing over the years. It's really uplifting. You can find someone with a similar mental or physical illness to yours or a friend of yours, and it's really a good testimony to give them. Don't forget about the next free seminar in May. You can sign up off the website. Thank you for sending us another donation on the PayPal button. Please do that, as you have been for the last 16 years. Don't forget Sister Karen. She's on the homepage of the website. Be happy to list your house for you and sell it with some integrity. And she loves working with born-again Christians. Antidepressant drugs. My God, they're everywhere now, aren't they? They are incredible. Zoloft, Prozac, Seraphim, Celexa, Lexapro, Paxil, Paxiva, Bristdella, Lavux. I mean, there's one after the other. These drugs are designed to help a sick, saddened America survive from day to day, hour to hour, week to week. And they are now running into some interesting issues with antidepressant drugs. Now, remember, these drugs I just mentioned and others, they are not physically addicting drugs. They're very much like, let's say, a diabetic taking insulin. They don't become physically addicted to these drugs, but they do become emotionally addicted to them. And we don't have a lot of research with regard to long-term usage. But they have been noticing that people that have been coming off of antidepressant drugs have been developing strange side effects. For example, some people start to feel like they have the flu, feel like they have some kind of a virus in their stomach. They start to think strange things. They start to have disturbing thoughts, changes in their dream life. These drugs do cause an absence of increased serotonin levels. That does occur while you're taking antidepressants, so that is an adjustment when you get off of them. But some people are having problems with them, and they're estimating now that 1 or 2 in 5 people who take these drugs for 6 or more weeks may experience what they now call discontinuation symptoms. Here's a recent article in the paper that I thought was kind of interesting. Victoria Tolene would hunch over her kitchen table, steady her hands, and draw a bead of liquid from a vial with a small dropper. It was a delicate operation that had become a daily routine for her, extracting ever tinier doses of the antidepressant she'd been taking for 3 years, off and on, and was desperately trying to quit. Quote, basically, that's all I have been doing, dealing with the dizziness, the confusion, the fatigue, the withdrawal symptoms, said Mrs. Tolene, age 27, of Tacoma, Washington. It took 9 months to wean herself from the drug Zoloft by taking increasingly smaller dosages. Quote, I couldn't finish my college degree, she said. Only now am I feeling well enough to try to re-enter society and go back to work. Long-term use of the antidepressants is surging in the United States, according to a new analysis of federal data by the New York Times. Some 16 million Americans have taken the medications for at least 5 years. The rate has almost doubled since 2010, tripled since the year 2000. Nearly 25 million adults have been on antidepressants for at least 2 years. That is a 60% increase from 2010. Unbelievable. The article goes on to say, quote, the drugs have helped millions of people ease depression and anxiety and are widely regarded as milestones in psychiatric treatment. Many, perhaps most, stop the medications without significant trouble, but the rise in long-term use is also the result of an unanticipated and growing problem. Many who try to quit say they cannot because of withdrawal symptoms they were never previously warned about by their doctor. Some scientists long ago anticipated that a few patients might experience withdrawal symptoms if they tried to stop. They called it discontinuation syndrome. Yet withdrawal has never been a focus of drug makers or government regulations, who felt antidepressants could not be addictive and did far more good than they did harm. Wow, what in the world is going on around here, saints of God? Well, what's happening is, with the breakdown of our society continuing and the implosion of the family units, Satan is crushing America, not with military power, but he's attacking it internally. He's causing an implosion of the United States of America, and he's unleashing hordes, battalions of spirits of rejection and demons into our society. In the 1950s, there were no significant demons hardly anywhere in the United States to speak of. Demons were not a major problem of any kind in 1950. Now, with the destruction of the family, with dysfunctional families sprouting up everywhere, with sin running absolutely amok all over the United States, and with the invasion of false religions hitting the country from every angle, demons are now a major problem in the United States of America, and they start, in most cases, in the dysfunctional family, in childhood, in the home. And because of the spirits of rejection and fear, the use of antidepressants has now doubled over the past decade. For example, Great Britain is experiencing a worse attack of this than we are here in America. Great Britain is massively drugged out with antidepressants. For example, New Zealand is even worse. Antidepressants have swept those two countries and left incredible numbers of people emotionally and psychologically addicted to these drugs. And what's happening, they're trying their best to get away from the monster of childhood, the spirit of rejection. This demon gets into the person's brain, and this spirit starts to tear the person's self-concept down. And this demon starts to use other people like puppets to attack the person, family members and relatives, and then as they grow older, bullying in school, they use other people and the spirits in other people to destroy the person's self-concept. The person then begins to develop low self-esteem, and fear spirits attack the person when they're young, and they develop long-term consistent anxiety disorders. I see this continuously and constantly in my counseling practice on a regular basis. I've been a counselor for 37 years here in Maricopa County. The numbers of people taking antidepressants, the numbers of people who are mentally and emotionally ill have exponentially accelerated here in Arizona as it has all over the United States. These spirits are incredibly powerful. Just last week alone, I had 4 people delivered from these horrible demons that had been torturing them their entire lives. And I mean literally for decades. One woman that got delivered from these spirits was in her 70s. She still struggled to believe that God loved her. She still struggled to believe that she was worthy of God's love, or that he would help her, or that he really cared about her. She was living in a series of delusions she had picked up from childhood from these spirits that get into the person's brain, and they continuously lie to them by telling them that God has a problem with them, that God doesn't like them, and that God is nitpicking them. They have this horrible sense that they are deficient human beings. And Christians use antidepressant drugs at the same level, listen to me, the same level as non-Christians. There's hardly any difference between Christians and non-Christians here in our American society and here in Arizona. They're basically the same. Christians have the same problems, emotional, mental, and physical, the sinners do. And that was never the intent of the glorious gospel of Christ, that Christians should have to live like sinners and suffer from the same emotional and mental illnesses sinners do. That is 100% antichrist. The antidepressants allow the person to get through the day. They allow them to function again, but they are never a cure. And in fact, at some point in time, the patient is dying to get off these drugs. In my counseling experience, I've actually seen it happen numerous times over the years. After the person is delivered from the spirit of rejection and the spirit of fear, they are able to gradually wean off these drugs quickly, and they soon become drug-free because of the power of the Holy Ghost and the supernatural power of God's holy word. Remember, the demons will tell you that God doesn't love you and doesn't care about you and is not interested in you, or is nitpicking you, or is critical of you. Those are 100% lies. That is completely false. God has never had a bad thought about you. He loves you. He wants you. He is searching for you. He cares about you. And taking drugs or not taking them will never change that. If you're having antidepressant drug withdrawal problems and you're a Christian, you're eligible for free counseling services at the Arizona Deliverance Center, 602-636-5800.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.